Okay, we got a new
A lot
leaks
of
about
questions left,
Skibidi Toilet,
such as
guys.
what will happen in
Yeah,
the next
let's
episode
react
and
to
how will
this
it begin.
data
And in this
bio.
video, you will get a lot of information
Get
and my
exclusive leaks, and I
theories
really
about
want
the next
to
episode. And let's
watch
move on
this.
to the first leaked frame.
Okay.
In this leaked frame, we see a dark assassin who
Nice.
asks for help from POV plunger cameraman.
Okay, I don't agree. I disagree with data bio because, in my opinion, Dark Speakerman gives his hand and want to help the plunger. It's opposite. It's not that the Dark Speakerman wants help, needs help. It's opposite.
And this is just crazy. And do you remember how the Dark Assassin sacrificed the twins in episode 69? And how Plunger Cameraman reacted to this? And I have already said many times in my video that it is possible that there will be such a situation that the Plunger Cameraman will not help the Dark Assassin because of that.
I don't think so, guys. This is rather not true, because Ninja is really wants to help everyone, want to saves everyone. So I think he is really on the alliance side. So definitely he will help Dark Speakerman. But in my opinion, is that the Dark Speakerman helps other cameras.
That incident. And I also said that we should expect more losses among the squad of agents.
I
and
agree.
this will probably be confirmed. But in fact, this leaked frame does not tell us about the death of the Speaker Man. And as we know, that leaked frame is always very confusing and everything seems to become obvious.
Why I think so? Because of the jetpack, guys. Dark Speakerman has a jetpack, So because of that, he is able to reach a really high ground. So I think he is going to help Plunger.
But in fact, in the episode, everything
Because
will
of
be
that.
different. And let's analyze the details that we
If he has a jetpack, so why he needs a help? You know?
see here. Based on this place, we can say that the agents got out of the elevator in which they were at the end of
Okay,
episode
I
70.
agree.
Since from behind we see an abyss. And it seems that this elevator fell down, but at the last moment, the agents were able to get out into the corridor.
Yes.
Or now they are on the elevator itself is from above. Since in the past,
So what is really important here? That the knocking sound in the last episode, 70 part 1, was an enemy knocking. That was not alliance member, but definitely enemy.
we saw that someone tried to punch a hole in the elevator from
Yeah,
above.
yeah, and that was enemy.
And here is the two option who could have done this. The first option is that it was a Skibidi Toilets, but the agents were able to kill them with the help of their guns. And through this hole in the ceiling, they were able to get out, but the Speaker Man needed help to get out of there. And the second option is that the agents who entered the laboratory in
I don't think so that agents, the second team, was so fast to go and reach the first team.
episode 69
I don't
reached
agree.
this elevator. And they are the ones who are trying to pull the
Look at everyone's here has a jetpack.
squad out of this elevator and also punched a hole in the ceiling. And the Speaker Man asks for help to get out of there.
No, I disagree with that. This is definitely not Speakerman ask, but Plunger ask.
And the third option, and for me the most likely, is that the agents were able to break down the elevator doors and get out into the corridor, because we saw the physical strength of the Plunger cameraman who hit the wall. And it seems to me that together with the Dark Assassin, there would be no problem breaking down the elevator door.
Yeah.
But in this moment, Skibidi Toilets, who tried to get inside, hit the ceiling so hard that the elevator could not stand it and flew down. And the speaker at the last moment was able to grab onto this beam. And this seems the most like
I don't agree. I think this is a, door open and Dark Speakerman gives his hand to help Ninja.
option, since here we see sparks. And it seems to me that due to the many blows, the elevator fell down, and usually such sparks happen in situations when the elevator falls down at great speed. Of course, these are all just theory, and in fact, everything could be different. And this beam that the Speakerman grabbed does not look like the floor that is in the corridor, but also write your versions in the comments. But the main question is whether the Plunger cameraman will help the Dark Assassin, or will he sacrifice him like Speakerman did with the twins?
Will help.
And here I also have two options. If we see sparks here, then perhaps it is at this moment that the toilets are attacking the agents, and the agents have very little time to get out of there. And perhaps due to lack of time, Plunger cameraman will also sacrifice the Speaker Man. But to be honest, I don't think so. And that's why I have another option. And in this option, I'm very confident. And I think that the plunger cameraman will definitely help the speaker man. Since what he did with the twins, it was necessary. And if he had not done this, then everything would have been in vain and Michael Jackson would have torn everyone apart. And we understand that the plunger cameraman is very emotional and he didn't hit the speaker man with malice intent, but was simply out of emotion, as we saw after a second that everything was already fine and they weren't arguing. And perhaps at that moment, the elevator falls down because we see sparks and the Dark Assassin helped everyone get out since he is the largest in size. And in the end, he tried to get out himself, but the elevator was already began to fall and he
But he has a jetpack, so why he could do themselves, you know, with
managed
the
to grab this
jetpack.
beam. And then the plunger cameraman will help him. Anyways, I am sure that he will not die at this very moment. But perhaps we will lose some of the agents not much later.
Yeah, definitely the normal agent will die.
And the agents will successfully get out of this elevator. And you will understand this in a second in the next leaked frame. And this leak already gives us a lot of clues.
Yeah, this is
and pay
crazy
attention to
leak
this place
with this book.
in which this cameraman is located. And this is definitely not the elevator in which the agents were. And on the right, we can see the doors the same as those at the beginning of this laboratory in part 4 of episode 67.
Yeah.
And this means that the agents managed to get out of the elevator, and I also think that the Dark Assassin also survived, and he with them. And
I think so too, that he survives, you know? He is really important to the story, I think.
here we can see a strange round window that usually on underwater
I don't think so, it's a window. Right? This is probably some kind of a mirror. I think they are all in the some kind of tombs or catacombs or church, old church.
usually on underwater ships. But it's hard to believe that the agents are now underwater. But still, this is a very strange window.
Maybe that was a cult or cult or something
But the most
like that.
interesting detail is that the lucky guy is holding a very strange book in his
Yeah,
hands.
boom.
And I immediately remembered
Yeah,
Skibidi
this is the same what I think.
Multiverse from Dom Studio.
Yeah.
Because there were similar books, but about the Skibidi apocalypse. And in the multiverse, YouTubers collect and destroy these books because there is very important information about plans for Skibidi toilets. And is it possible that a similar book also appeared in Skibidi Toilet? Actually, no, I'm sure it's something else, and I also have 3 options for what kind of book it is. The first option is that there are Skibidi entries here how the Skibidi scientists conducted experiments on Skibidi toilets,
Yeah, maybe
cameramen and
something
people,
like that.
and crossed them all into one mutant.
And who write this book? Because, you know, Skibidi toilets don't have hands. Okay, in the first time, in the first episode, but later they get, you know.
And this option is very true, because even in the movies and in real life, scientists write in notebooks about their research and experiments. But still, I am more inclined
Or maybe this is a book with some kind of mystic magic
to
or
the
something
following
like that.
options. And the second option is that this is the diary of cameramen who were captured by toilets throughout the series. So, as we have already seen a hybrid Skibidi toilet which is made from the body of a cameraman and a Skibidi toilet, because the paralyzing ray did not affect it. And also, at the beginning of episode 69, we saw 2 bodies of a cameraman in a funny pose. But we know that they shouldn't be there because in the episode we saw how many agents went inside the laboratory. And this means that these bodies were here before and they were held captive and experimented on. And one of the
Okay.
cameramen was able to somehow get a book and made notes in it.
Yeah,
But to be
maybe.
honest, this already sounds like fantasy, and I am very confident in the third option. And the third option is the most plausible for me. And I think that this is the diary of a scientist. But not a Skibidi scientist, but a human scientist. Since I told you many times that this was a military base of people, and at the same time it was a laboratory in which people also conducted experiments on Skibidi toilets, and how to fight them, and how to destroy this infection. And at the beginning of episode 70, we saw the body of a soldier who lay there not for very long.
Yeah, this is really strange because this give us the information that the fight here was really eerily, you know, because we see a blood, see a body, so this is not a skeleton. So that something like that. This fight should take really eerily.
Since we clearly see blood on the ground. And if he lay there for a long time, then the blood would have already soaked
Yeah,
into the
I
ground.
agree with that.
And
yeah.
also another burnt soldier died in the car. And Boom already in episode 69 hinted at people when we saw human skeletons. And also the skeleton of a scientist, and I think that this is a scientist diary in which he wrote down all his research. And I think that it was like this. Today it's been 3 days since Skibidi Toilets are trying to get into our base.
Okay.
It all sounds crazy, but this is usually
Let's
how it is
skip
written
this.
in diaries from the next part. But as always, these are my crazy theories, but be sure to write what you think about it in the comments. And let's move on to the additional information that I received from Mr. Boom.
Okay.
And I thought that there would be 4 parts of episode 70, but in fact, Mr. Boom told me that there would only be 3 parts. And he also added
Okay.
that part 2 will be shorter than part 1, and there will be a little less action than in part 1.
Okay, so probably the next episode we got really fast.
But this episode will be no
faster.
less interesting than the first part. But when will the new episode be released? I did not receive exact information, but I can say that the second part should be released faster than part 1. 5 days have already passed since the release of the first part. So personally, I think that part 2 will be released within 3 or a maximum of 5 days from the release of this video. And I
Okay, maybe 2 days, guys. Maybe that will be into 2 days. Nice, by the way, nice leaks.